After giving 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks, to the 10-inch box squat, let's now do it with the really high pin squats. Really high pin squats. So the bar basically stands around just below my sternum when I'm standing next to the bar, so pretty high. But let's give this thing 3 weeks now and see what I come up with. You know, if I look back at my history, some of the best squatting came when I introduced pin squats. That did something to me, man. You know, the 10-inch box squats, I mean, I don't want to be rude about it. You know, I have given it 3 weeks. I don't want to say that I've had no benefits from it. You know, there's definitely been something positive to come out of it. It's just the overarching feeling that I have with them is this freaking knee trouble. You know, the knees started behaving weirdly. You know, after the first few sessions, just started feeling, lack of confidence to kind of extend my knees over my toes. I just had I don't know, I can't explain it. It wasn't pain, it was just kind of just instability. And then a few days ago, that incident at work where I freaking couldn't put any weight on it, that kind of scared me a little bit. It's not something to kind of mess around with, especially when you introduce something for the first time and you give it a lot of attention, and then you develop a negative effect from it. You kind of connect the two dots. But I'm sure I've had some positives from it. It's just the cost was a little bit too high for me. Not to say that, low box squats don't have a place in everyone's training. Maybe just for me, it's something that I don't need right now. Maybe I need to work on something else. It kind of makes me feel, maybe it's the same as the deadlifts. I shouldn't be working with, deep positions, deep hip flexion positions. Maybe I should be working at the top more. And so let's basically try the opposite now, which is the pin squats, really high pin squats. I had a really good training period, when I strung all those days together of hitting 200 on the back squat every single day. I think it was 17 days in a row I hit 200, and that was predominantly, I feel, because of the pin squats. That did something to me, man. It was, at the time, I was trying to kind of work out if it's really that. Was it really the holiday that I was on? There was a whole bunch of changes, so I couldn't really pinpoint exactly what was responsible for those effects. But this was part of the team. So let's pluck it out again and give it 3 weeks again and give it all the attention that I have, and see where it takes me. Pin squats it's a different feeling, man. It's completely opposite. We often talk about targeting your weaknesses. If you're somebody that does one thing quite a lot, maybe you'll benefit from doing something else quite a lot, or the opposite. I've been ATG squatting for a long time now. I'm quite comfortable in the hole. I'm not very comfortable in the mid-range. And then I'm quite okay at the top end. Now with this thinking is, okay, let's not worry about the bottom. Let's kind of work the top, because, the logic would be, why don't you work the middle? The reason why I feel working the middle is hard is because it's the most disadvantageous position. The leverages are working really hard against you. And basically, you should be carrying speed through that range of motion. Very taxing, man. I've done pin squats exactly at that parallel position. It is freaking murderous, man. You absolutely get spent. You might as well be deadlifting if you're doing pin squats from the parallel position. It is that taxing, that freaking taxing. And so I feel the best way to approach it is not to jump straight into the fire, but maybe go just below it or just above it. I'm going a lot above it. But for the next 3 weeks, I will be changing some of these parameters. I'm thinking, adding weight. Obviously, when I started the box squats, the 10-inch box squats, I found 60 kilos very heavy, 100 kilos very heavy. I don't know exactly what I hit the first training session. Maybe I hit 100 or something. I'm not sure. But I ended up doing, 4 sets of 5. I reckon I did the last session with 150. So I progressed nicely. So, with these pin squats, the potential is high. Obviously, you're working with super maximal weights. As I, develop a bit more confidence, I can see this going to 250, 260, crazy numbers. And, we can speak about, what's the pros and cons of that. What's the benefit of having all that weight on your back. There's a lot of strongman guys back in the day who swore by small ranges of motion and super maximal weights. I can tell you from this morning session, man, like, damn, my hip flexors, I'm feeling them, man, especially when you're kind of trying to break off, because when you're trying to break the bar off the pins, you know, it's a whole lot of glutes and quads, and those things are being opposed by some other structure. You know, hip flexors are there, and I feel like, I mean, I don't know, it's hard to say, but maybe my hip flexors are lacking. Maybe this is why I had developed the knee pain from the box squats. I'm not sure. It's very hard to kind of pinpoint what's going on. But it's one of those things, like if you're ATGing, go really high bar squats. If you're narrow stance squatting, go wide stance squatting. If you're always pulling off the ground, pull off the blocks. It's that kind of thing. Maybe there's a trend in that kind of thinking. So I'll be interested to see what this happens. And, you know, it's always like this, man. So, okay, so maybe I'll start squatting really well again. You know, next week or two, I'll start squatting 200s again, and I'll start pushing on that PR. Let's just say that happens. And so the feeling is, oh yeah, the pin squats did it. But who knows? Maybe the box squats did it. This is where it gets really complicated, and I'm not going to be jumping to conclusions like I have in the past and be like, oh yeah, you got to do that. Maybe the whole thing is here, man, just mix that shit up, man. Just mix it up. Keep mixing it up. Maybe after these 3 weeks, I'll go back to box squats. I don't really want to. But maybe I'll change it up again. Maybe do wide stand squats. Maybe, I mean, my wide stand squats always felt good to me, although I never did 3 weeks of them. But I'm just, I hate putting exercises in the graveyard or whatever people say, like completely forgetting about them. I don't want to say box squats are bad, but man, when you develop pain, like you really have to ask yourself, is it worth it to really invest time into it again if you ended up snapped up? Maybe for somebody who is a different type of lifter, who squats to parallel maybe, and is not very good in the ATG position, maybe that person should go there. But somebody like me, who usually lives below the box, you know, and squats ATG, maybe this is where the troubles happen. I don't know, because I'm probably weak at the middle and top end. Oh, I don't know. I don't really know how to program all this in my mind. But the bottom line is, when you develop pain from whatever, you really have to think to yourself, should I be doing this again? I know pin squats in the past, I've done it several times. You know, when I did the whole 200 kilo run, I did it quite a lot. And then, you know, and I never got hurt. But the question is, why the hell did you stop it? The reason why I stopped it, man, and you can go back to those videos, but basically I was getting these crazy lower back pumps during these pin squats, like crazy lower back pumps. It got to a point where it got very, very hard to do anything after that. The 200 kilo squats were all right, but, you know, when you start loading it up maybe to 3 plates, then the lower back starts to kind of release a little bit the pump from the pin squats. I used to do pin squats first and then back squats. It took quite some time for the lower back pumps to kind of wash away. And at the time, I wasn't really understanding why the hell I was getting that. I thought to myself, maybe I'm working my lower back too much. And, you know, with me and lower backs, I always kind of get scared. Oh, is this a symptom before it snaps? So I kind of got scared about that. And obviously at the time, I also didn't deadlift at all because of the lower back pumps. So then I thought to myself, maybe I should be doing low deadlifts and address this lower back weakness. And those were the kind of thoughts that led me away from the pin squats. The lower back pumps were crazy. This time around, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I still feel the lower back, although it's early days and it's nowhere near the intensity that I felt it back then. But I feel like now I have a little bit more knowledge up my sleeve, and I feel like if this occurs, I think what was happening back then is my psoas, my iliacus, rectus femoris, the hip flexors were not up to par. And if this starts happening again, I'll just go crazy with, you know, weighted sit-ups and leg raises and whatnot, which I've done in recent times as well. You know, if you guys think back to a month or two ago, I spent a lot of freaking time doing 45 hypers and GHD back raises, and yeah, I was getting lit up in my lower back as well, to a point where my anterior pelvic tilt started playing out, and so then I thought, okay, I got to address this, and I started getting, like, not hernia pain, but that sensation that the freaking abdomen, you know, cavity is about to blow out at the front because of the anterior pelvic tilt and the lack of strength in the abdominal wall. So then I started doing weighted sit-ups and leg raises, and I addressed it, and now I feel good again. So I reckon if the lower back starts playing up again with pin squats, I reckon I'll do that, go crazy with it. And I reckon I'll be able to provide the antidote, let's say, to the lower back pump. You know, you always sit back and you think to yourself, what if I never stopped? What if I had this knowledge? What if I remember back then I tried to do this, but maybe not with the right volume, maybe not with the right intention. So that's what I'm thinking, you know, right now. Let's hit the pin squats now. It kind of fits in with the whole block pulls as well. So block pulls, pin squats. I traded in the box squats for the pin squats. So let's see where all this takes me. I feel good in my knees after this session. I feel strong. I don't know. There's a lot going on. It's really hard to pinpoint. I'm reading your guys' comments and your suggestions. And a lot of you guys are saying just the hell with the freaking box squats, man. If you're feeling bad, stop it. And I agree with you. All right, guys, let me get out of here, go to work. Appreciate all of you guys. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.